Oh my God, we are back with the relaunch, reimagining of Grindhouse Chic. As always, I am your host, Robert Schneider. And as always, I am joined by Matt Armstrong and Brian Baldwin. And to kick off this new era, we are going to do something fun. We are going to program a 24-hour horror film festival. Now, I am excited about my list. I'm even more excited about Matt and Brian's list because I have no idea what's on them. So, guys, did you have a blast coming up your list?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. You go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just gonna say it was really, really hard for me. I was going in so many different directions. I feel happy with the direction I went in, but at the same time I know there's probably way better movies for it that I just haven't seen yet. So
what did you do? How did you determine your list? Like, what factors did you put into it?
So, I was going to just do my favorite movies. I was going to do, movies that weren't necessarily good, but that, everyone just loves watching over and over again. And then I went over and I was going to do the scariest thing to me is like aliens, because you never know if they're good or bad. And then I finally ended on, I was watching the San Diego Comic-Con stuff, and they did the Black Panther 2 reveal, and the guy who's playing Namor, no idea what his name is, but he is Latino, and he came up on stage and was talking about inclusion and representation and how it matters, and he wouldn't be here if if there wasn't inclusion, he would still be just some poor guy living in Mexico, barely squeaking by. So I kind of molded mine around black comedy, which to me is black director or black cast or black protagonist.
Okay, interesting.
So that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
Yeah, I'm sure we all three could probably say this. I don't know why I was overthinking this so much. Number one, it's an extremely intriguing question. But God, it borderline gave me anxiety several times because I find myself no, that doesn't fit. No. And I got to the point where I was like, I created one and I was like, it's not what I had in my mind at first, but I'm happy with my choices. And I kind of was like, I have to just settle for one. Because ultimately, I think I could make several of these for several different reasons, But no, it was a wonderful time. It made me rethink some movies that I hadn't, watched in a while and stuff too. And so yeah, I'm happy with it. I look at it and I'm like, I could maybe make some changes here and there, but
yeah,
most of my angle was, what would I, like to sit in a group setting with a bunch of people who are into these types of films, which mine is very horror centric, of course. And maybe show them some things that they haven't seen before that I think that they would really enjoy. I kind of had in my mind an envisioning of a drive-in theater kind of setting, sort of tucked away in the woods, just with a bunch of friends and having a good time.
Well,
nice.
I kind of thought the same way as you. Is what movies do I want to see with a bunch of people? But one thing I stayed away from movies that would be that it's not really necessarily true. I stayed away from a lot of mainstream horror films. So you're not going to see on my list Dawn of the Dead or Halloween, but you might see things from that franchise in there. But you're not going to see anything from it. My whole thing was kind of expect the unexpected, and my first and potentially last film I have kind of a connection to. I got to make up the connection, but there's a connection between the two. But Matt, why don't you start off with what's your first pick?
So after I talked to you earlier, I was trying to figure out what kind of order to put these in because I didn't even think of that aspect of it. But I think my first one I'm going to go with, it's the oldest one on the list, and it's called Son of Ngaji. It's from 1940, and it's the first all black cast horror movie. And it's just about this black couple that gets married, and they have like a rich doctor living next door to them, and you find out that the doctor brings back this, half man, half ape. There's a lot of things that don't hold up in the movie, but it is nice seeing, that kind of movie, put together in the 40s. Some things happen. The lady dies. She ends up leaving the house to the couple whose wedding she just randomly went to earlier in the movie. So they're like stuck there with this creature. And it's really cool movie. It's a little slow at parts, but it's really cool seeing what they did with, we talk about movies with like no budget. This had like nano budget, and just, being able to do what they did during those times, I think was really cool. And the movie I thought was really well done.
Where did you see this film at?
So I had originally seen it on, I don't know if you guys remember the Best Buy days when you'd be walking the aisles and you would see those super cheap, like 50 horror movies DVD packs.
Oh, yeah.
Where you could like barely make out a picture on them. So I had first seen it in that a long time ago. And then when I started thinking about this list, I like kind of remembered that movie, and it's free to watch on YouTube. So I watched it again, and it's a lot better picture now, but yeah, Son of Ngaji.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Brian,
I learned something new today.
Man, me too. I've never heard that movie. I'll have to check it out. Brian,
Yeah.
what is your first pick?
All right. So my first pick is what I consider to be just one of the funnest slasher movies for its comedy and for its kills. I'm going to 1984 with The Mutilator, aka Fall Break, one of the greatest opening songs of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also has one of my favorite line deliveries in any film, not just a horror movie or a slasher movie. But Maury Lampley, who is the really tall blonde character in the movie, I can't remember his character's name, but when they walk into the beach house where they're going to be partying over the weekend, and he walks in, he's just looking around in this room by himself. He's like, "Would you look at all this shit?" And that fucking cracks me up so much. Yeah, I really love that film.
I think The Mutilator. The first time I ever saw that was from the Arrow Blu-ray that came out.
Same.
And I'd never heard of it. It was first time watch. It was an all-time favorite. That barely made that did not make my list, but it was in the list of consideration. But oh my god, it's a fun film. Such a fun film.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I think audiences would dig the shit out of it.
So
yeah.
a guy I know just wrapped production on Mutilator 2. Be ready.
Oh no. Oh no.
So I'm so excited. I know it's probably not going to be what I have in my mind, but I still am very excited to watch it. And you know what? I've been surprised a lot lately at some movies I've checked out that I've been like, this is probably going to not be good, and I've been wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Nice.
So my first pick, I'm gonna have you guys guess a little bit because I have two trailers that would play in front of it. The first would be the William Castle movie 13 Ghosts, and the Fred Astaire, John Huston Ghost Story.
So it's
13
gonna be
Ghosts and
ghost related.
Yes, it is ghost related.
Is it a dancing ghost movie?
No, Beetlejuice is not in it. It's not Beetlejuice.
Ghost Keeper?
No.
Is it starring your favorite comedian? Is it Ghost Dad?
No. Just
Oh
tell me
my
you got.
God.
So first of all, while this movie does have some comedy elements, and I think when it came out, it was marketed more as a comedy. It has some really good gore and some really good kills in it, and some nice twists along the way. And I will tell you, the director of this movie went on to make some of the biggest movies of the 21st century.
Is it? Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say, is it Frighteners?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
1996
nice.
Peter Jackson. So this was not on my list until last night. I was scouring my movie room for this movie called Shock 'Em Dead, which I did find and watch this morning, and it pretty much easily fell off the list. And as I was going through it, I saw The Frighteners stay on the shelf, unopened. I bought it like probably in 2011 or 10 when I lived in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch this. This looks like just something that'll take my mind off trying to add something to the list. And then I'm like, holy crap, this is a really, really good movie. I hadn't seen it since it came out, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, Michael J. Fox played this architect whose wife died. They were in a car accident, and he had the ability to see ghosts, and he was using the ghosts that he could see and talk to con people by becoming like this fake Ghostbuster. And also there's all these deaths in the town, and it turns out to be the ghost of a serial killer who is going through and killing people and making it look like heart attacks. Dee Wallace Stone, and probably her best role since E.T., was great, and I don't want to spoil it because her character is really important. And one of the girls who is in Times Square is basically the love interest for him in the movie. And I don't know, this movie was so much fun. And
Yeah.
Chi McBride, who played one of the ghosts, was just killing me. And Jeffrey Combs from Reanimator. How the fuck did he not have a major career after this film in like mainstream movies? Because he was pretty much like the poor man's Christopher Lloyd. In some ways, he was a little better. He stole this movie. This movie was near perfect, and I can't imagine it not opening my horror film festival.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great choice. I haven't seen that in so long. Like some stuff you said, I feel like I remember, but I'll need to revisit that one. It's been ages. So
I'm really hoping that someone's going to release a Peter Jackson box set be called Before the Rings, because I mean, we need like high def great versions of Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, this movie, and
Yeah.
now I have heard talk that he has mentioned that he wants to work on 4K restorations of his first films. So
I've been hearing that for years.
Well, true. It's been a while.
All right. Matt, what's your second pick?
Second one I'm gonna go with is kind of an easy one, and originally I was gonna pair it with a music video. I was gonna, after the Son of Ngaji kind of ended, I was gonna hit right in with the Michael Jackson Thriller music video.
Okay.
Play that, and then just go right into Night of the Living Dead. Super mainstream movie. I'm sure no one has not heard of this. But I think I saw it like, dozens of times when I was younger, and I, just kind of took it as just like it's just an old zombie movie. But like watching it recently, I kind of picked up on a lot of the, like different kind of cues in the movie. Just, things Romero was doing with, choosing during the 60s to have like a black lead with Dwayne Jones. And there's one spot that I never noticed, and it really stuck out to me this time when, the part when Dwayne Jones just like straight slaps the white woman. To me, like, back then watching the movie, it's like, oh wow, these zombies are the scariest thing. But watching it now, it was kind of like I saw that part and I was like, oh shit, like what's about to happen to this guy? Like, because he just did that. That's unheard of in the 60s. So, I thought it was really cool seeing this black actor kind of take the lead on this movie, and then it didn't. The ending wasn't so great, but it's a classic nonetheless. I think
But
everyone should kind of see it.
It's really sad that even in the midst of a zombie infestation, racism still exists.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
That's an interesting choice, Night of the Living Dead. Again, did not even come close to making my list.
Yeah,
Because again, again, the context of what you're doing it from a historical perspective, it's fucking awesome and it makes sense.
I
just-
too think I thought about it too hard, like Brian did.
But it's still an amazing movie, and funny enough, it's one I have never seen with an audience of people. I've just seen
I
it with
guess
friends.
either, actually.
I've seen it with friends. I would love to see it theatrically.
Mm-hmm. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, nice choice, man.
Brian, what is your second pick?
All right. Sticking with slashers at the beginning here. Going with another one of my absolute favorite bonkers movies. 1982, Juan Piquer Simone, Pieces.
Ooh.
Yes, I love this movie. Absolutely one of my favorites. Has one of the greatest opening segments there with the little boy putting together the nudie puzzle, and then he stabs his mother to death, and it's just great. Also, I was thinking about this one with the most random, bizarre martial arts scene to come out of left field ever. With Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, one of the actors who rose to prominence after Bruce Lee's death.
Yeah.
But
now that one holds a special place in my heart for a lot of reasons. I really think that the kills are super cool and really inventive, and I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful film that if anyone has not watched it, I would highly recommend it. Again, keeping with the theme of wanting to show people things that they might not otherwise watch, and let them do it in an environment with other people who are into that stuff. I do think it pairs really well with you can watch that movie with a lot of people. It's going to keep their attention, and I think they would really enjoy it.
that's cool. And while you say it has a great opening sequence, you can't forget the amazing ending to that movie that comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of keeping with like, in case anyone does watch this and they haven't seen it, kind of don't want to totally spoil it.
Oh, no. I'm just saying it has a bonkers ending. It was, that movie was near perfect because from moment one, it draws you in, and then it's like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, and it's actually it's bonkers. It's slightly comical, but it's also kind of like you're saying. It sort of drops your jaw. Like what? Like what the fuck? It's kind of creepy. It's a creepy movie.
Well, I know. I love Pieces. Again, that would be. I've seen it with friends, but I would love to see it in an auditorium filled with people.
Absolutely.
So my next one is weird. We don't open with a trailer. We're going to open up with scenes from a Canadian kid show called The Hilarious House of Frightenstein. Are you guys familiar with it? All right.
I'm not.
No.
So this is the intro as spoken by Vincent Price. Another lovely day begins for ghosts and ghouls with greenish skin. So close your eyes and you will find that you've arrived in Frightenstein. Perhaps the Count will find a way to make his monster work today. For if he solves this monster mania, he can return to Transylvania. So welcome where the sun won't shine, to the castle of Count Frightenstein. So I believe this show is the reason I love horror movies. And it was this weird Canadian kid show. It was made in the early 70s. And I watched it in syndication when I was a kid. And from what I remember, it was my go-to show. Like, I would run home from school just to watch it. Then it stopped airing. And back then, when we had no internet and even then videotape wasn't really a thing, all I had was my memory of it, and when I tried telling people about it, they're like, "You're thinking the Munsters or the Addams Family. You're kind of merging the two." And then in the late '90s or the mid '90s, when DVD came into prominence, I was at Best Buy, and they had a bunch of the episodes on DVD, and I bought it, and then I lent it to a friend, and I never saw it again. So, but thankfully, all the episodes are on Tubi right now, and there's a ton of them. Does the show hold up? No, it doesn't. But it's just zany enough for my kid logic to just first of all fall in love with the acting of Vincent Price, because for me, his greatest role wasn't Dr. Phibius or whatever it's called, or any of his other movies. It was this show. And I would show selected skits from it to lead into my next film, which is a kid's movie, the 1967 Jules Bass classic Mad Monster Party, which is kind of a however they did A Year Without a Santa Claus or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's a Rankin Bass production. It's a musical that stars Boris Karloff. It's just really, really weird. It's really funny. And I swear after this, all of my picks are a lot fucking darker and a lot gorier. But I figured early on in the evening, expect the unexpected and just watch this tribute again to monster movies. And in a way that, again, as a kid, when I first saw this, and I remember I must have been like 5 or 6, and my brother was having a birthday party, and all I wanted to do is watch Sir Graves Ghastly, which was the local Detroit horror host at the time. And this movie was on, and it was more entertaining than going out to my brother's birthday. So, but no, this movie is wonderful. I know Anchor Bay put it out on DVD. I know it's been released on Blu-ray as well, probably from Starz Anchor Bay. But it's just a delightful movie, and I can imagine just audiences loving it and going, "Why the fuck did he just show The Frighteners and this?" But I'm guessing you guys have never seen it.
No.
No.
I just looked it up on Letterboxd, and somehow it's in my watch list. I don't know
Dude,
how.
every movie's in your watch list. But yeah, it's fantastic, and I adore the fuck out of it.
Nice.
Matt, what is your third pick?
I was gonna say I was scrolling down when I looked it up just now, and one of the reviews says my roommate watches some awful shit, 5 stars. So
Amazing.
my third pick. So this was kind of something I was thinking about when we were talking about doing 10 or 12 movies. I was gonna have
basically maybe in our time we can go with more. We shouldn't be going pretty fast.
Okay, I will not go to that one yet then. I will go to I'll go with 1991, the classic People Under the Stairs.
God, it's a good movie.
It is. I've seen it so many times too, and it's just another one where, just what a creepy fucking family. First off, mommy, daddy, husband, wife sort of deal going on. I'm not sure what that was. But yeah, it's just the story of these two, a boy named Fool and his uncle break into a house to try and steal some gold, and white supremacy bondage things happen from there. And but the thing that I really liked about it is that Fool and his uncle are black characters, and everyone else in the movie is white. And I liked that. I saw it recently, and I really liked that. I feel like Wes Craven could have easily concentrated on what was her name, Alice, the Alice character, to kind of be like the hero of the movie and get these people out from under the stairs, but he chose to kind of have Fool be the protagonist and the hero in it, and I think it really turned out well that way. And it's a really cool movie. I remember when I was a kid being so freaked out when that guy opened his mouth and his tongue was cut off. Have you seen this before, Brian?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I love this movie for so many reasons. First of all, you have Everett McGill and Wendy Roby, who were married on Twin Peaks, playing a couple on here. It also has AJ Langer, who is in My So-Called Life, one of the greatest teen dramedies of the early 90s. And you have Sean Whalen as Roach. Sean Whalen, who is one of the greatest character actors of all time. This movie is just fantastic. It's scary. It's claustrophobic. It makes you hate people.
Yeah. And I like it. It had a lot going on between like rich versus poor also. And I thought that was kind of, I don't know. I feel like watching Wes Craven movies, I usually don't get a lot of deeper themes out of them, but I feel like this one had some stuff going on.
First of all, I'm very glad this movie did not have any sequels to it or prequels, and it was a one and done. And it's one of those movies that honestly scares you, just because it does have the social issue of child abuse.
Yeah.
But it's so good. Is the Scream Factory disc still in print?
I think so. Yeah, that's the one I got recently.
Okay. Yeah, that was a day one purchase for me, and I just love that movie. Again, I've actually seen that. I saw this one in the theater when it came out, and I don't remember being very crowded, but I just remembered loving it. Like, I was working at Kmart at the time, and we would all go to movies after work, and we went to see that. We went and drink beer and saw that one. It was just a fucking blast.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just been kind of weird, like going back and watching these movies that I haven't seen in, I'd say, at least a decade, that I loved as a kid, and going back and watching them now, and they're almost like completely different movies. It's cool.
Well, you see things different in them.
Yeah.
Brian, what is your next pick?
Well, for starters, I didn't realize that we had lowered the number from 12 films.
No, we are back at 12. We are speeding through this. So
okay. So speaking of things people probably want to speed through, my next pick is going to 1990 with Night Killer. I think it is one of the funnest, dumbest, just most ridiculous films I've ever seen. Are you guys familiar?
I have never heard of Night Killer.
I'm looking.
Okay, so this is what Severin released with the slipcover for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those that's so bad it's good. It falls in that category. It's still kind of keeping with the slasher theme that I've got towards the beginning of this festival. It is a black gloved killer. I won't go into too much detail because it's a wonderfully delightful movie that everyone should watch. But the kind of twist on it is the killer is like this deformed monster. It's got some of the best depictions of like, we can't stop filming no matter what. Like, one of your opening scenes is this choreographer with a dance group on a stage in a theater, right? And they're doing this rehearsal, and this poor lady forgets every damn one of her lines. Like, and she starts doing this thing. She's like, I just can't. Just like, just watch it. Just watch it. Again, it's one that I would love to just be in a large group of people with, because it's something that I think most people have not heard of. And when they've seen it, it might open their eyes up to like, holy crap, there's this whole different world of things that I need to get into.
I have a question. Why would they give it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 or 5 or whatever?
can't remember exactly what the story was behind it. I believe it was released as that in Italy, I think, or something like that, and then they changed it. I cannot remember the whole entire story behind that, unfortunately.
I love it when Severin does it. I just wish, like with Evil Dead 3 or whatever, 4, whatever they call that one for Beyond the Darkness. I wish they would give a little explanation of why. like Jaws 5 and Cruel Jaws, I got it. That one made a lot of sense. And so did Terminator 2. That one made sense.
I still need to see that film. What's the actual name of it again?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I still need to watch that one. Yeah.
It's a terrible movie. So I'll give you for my next pick. The trailers before it would be Popcorn and Demons, because both those movies take place in a movie theater. Which means my pick would be 2010's Joshua Grinnell's classic, All About Evil.
I don't think I've heard of this.
I haven't watched it yet.
Severin just put it out during their mid-year sale. It stars Natasha Lyonne as a mousy movie theater owner, and when her stepmother tells her she has to sell the movie theater, she kills her, unaware that the video is playing into the theater where everyone thinks it's a short movie that she directed. And people start coming to the theater to see these shorts of her actually and her cast and crew actually murdering people. It's
amazing.
Yeah, you can stream it on Shudder. It's incredibly fucked up. It's incredibly amazing. It might be Natasha Lyonne's best role until we got to the first season of Russian Doll and the American Pie quadrilogy. But
what's the name of the film one more time? I'm sorry.
All About Evil. And it takes place in a movie theater. You can tell the director of it, Joshua Grinnell, who's also known by their drag queen name of Peaches Christ, is just incredible in the film as Peaches Christ. It's one of those movies that I can just watch over and over again. And sadly, the 2 times I have watched it, I've been by myself, and I can just imagine what it would be like in a theater to see it with people. And I think they would just be pleasantly surprised, first of all, how gory this movie is, 2, how over the top it is, and 3, for a film that should not work based on overacting and over the topness. Like, it's like if John Waters directed a horror film, this would be it. And it's just amazing. I'm absolutely in love with it. And the disc 7 released is chock full of extras. It has the contention of being in my top 10 list of the year.
Nice.
Very nice.
Matt,
it's a horror movie? I haven't seen that yet.
It's a horror comedy, but
okay.
It's
nice.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, that premise is great, and you're right. I love like movie theater or horror settings. It's really cool. There was one that was recently released by a partner label, right? What was the name of it?
It was the Giallo. Last
Matinee.
Yeah.
Last Matinee. Yeah, that was really good.
All right, Matt. What is your next pick?
My next one, I was going to lighten things up a little, kind of break away from all these serious movies, and I've got the 2000 horror classic parody Scary Movie by the Wayans. I think, it's a comedy movie overall, but I feel like it was a very important movie because it kind of, brought to light the shit state that, I think horror was in at the time. I might be in the minority, but I feel like, a movie like Scream kind of ruined horror. for the time.
No, no.
Here's I know we won't go off on this tangent, but I love that film, but I completely agree with the argument that it sort of changed the tone moving forward.
I think Scream is what saved horror. Yeah, it in some ways it ruined it because all of a sudden the cast were the kids who were on whatever hot TV show at the time.
Yeah.
But Scream, I think until Scream came out, horror was stagnant. And Scream was like, all right, let's usher in the age of meta horror and acknowledge everything that has happened before, because you know what? We now have a generation of kids who grew up watching that 80s shit, and how would they react?
Yeah.
If something like this actually happened. I think the first Scream is brilliant. I really don't care about 2, 3, and 4. And then I think the one that came out last year was actually pretty good. I recant my original negativity on it.
Nice.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I still haven't watched it. I feel like I need to revisit all of the old ones first. So I haven't watched it yet, but
I think you just need to revisit the first one.
I did do that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like I can jump in.
So how does Scary Movie? I mean, I guess I can just guess how it plays into your list. Is it because the Wayans directed it?
Yeah, directed it, started it, and a lot of it was just kind of like, a lot of black culture in it, a lot of black comedy, kind of just like the Wayans kind of like shining through, and it was pretty much all their jokes and stuff like that. But aside from that, I thought it was. I'm looking at it on Letterboxd now, and it has a 2.9, and I feel like for what it was, I thought it was really well done, and I think it was kind of like, more people than just me saying, okay, we got to poke fun at this shit.
I've never seen any of the Scary movies.
Oh, you gotta at least see the first one. The storyline is pretty much Scream, and they're kind of just like making fun of it the entire time.
I've only seen one movie in that genre, and it was not another teen movie, which I adore, but I also think it's overkill.
Yeah.
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 I haven't watched it in a long time. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of their answer too to films, like Hot Shots and Airplane, stuff like that. This kind of over the top spoof movies and everything. I need to watch that one again. I'm glad you mentioned it.
It is streaming on HBO right now. For as long as HBO Max is still around, it's there.
Yeah.
Brian, what is your next pick?
All right, let's see. So we went from Night Killer. Now we are going into. Okay. This is probably one of the darker ones on here, but the tie-in here. So we're going from still a black gloved killer theme with Night Killer, with again the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 reference there with its initial release. So the connection here is we're going to 1976 with Tobe Hooper, Eaten Alive.
Ooh.
Yes, that is one that I actually just got around to watching. I would say within like the last year. I'd had it for a long time. It's never popped it in. That movie is a lot of fun for a lot of reasons, but man, Tobe Hooper really knows how to create some extremely uncomfortable situations with camera work and lighting and just his characters in general. It's always tons of screaming and just really uncomfortable situations. And then, of course, in this one, you also have the killer alligator. You guys know I'm a fan of that. So yeah, I thought it would be a really nice. That's one that I think people, a lot of people who aren't into horror movies necessarily like the way that we are, to where we kind of obsess over them. They'll they connect everything with like, oh, it's a 70s movie, it's an 80s movie. This is one I'll probably laugh at. It's just going to be over the top and stupid, and that is not Eaten Alive. That movie is not really one to, at least I did not sit there like, ha, ha, ha. I mean, of course you do have really opening, one of the best intros, in a movie or whatever is Robert Englund is in this one. So you have the whole line of, my name is Buck and I like to fuck. Yeah. So, there are moments that make you chuckle, but it is certainly not a in my opinion, what most people would consider to be a B movie. This is a pretty scary film, I think.
And it's a very interesting follow-up to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
He made this one after, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's an intense movie. I like it because I do find alligators scary, and yeah, this one is it's fucked up.
Well, the setting is so great. Like, I mean, again, there's lots of it's really dark, lots of red lights, like with the alligator, it's all like right at the front door of this place that these people are staying at, this hotel, like walk out on the front porch and this killer alligator is right there. And it's not even that's the only scary element of the film, like family issues and stuff that you get into. A daughter is clearly not really being taken care of well. I mean, there's a lot of really, really upsetting elements to that movie, I think.
No, I agree. I the last time I saw it was when I bought it on DVD, I bought it in either the late 90s or when I was in grad school. And I watched it then, and it's probably been about 18 years since I've seen it, even though I do own the Arrow Blu-ray of it that remains unopened on a shelf right now. I definitely need to go back and rewatch this one.
For sure.
All right. My next pick. I'm going to see if you guys can guess it. Matt, you actually know the answer to this one, so you can't answer. You can't figure it out. So here are the two trailers that I played before it. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child.
Is this a pretty obscure title, or?
No. It fits in with the trailers that would play before it.
Well, I get that part.
In fact, it's probably
Good Lord.
one of the most mainstream movies on my list.
Well, now I'm just going to feel stupid as fuck because I don't have the slightest idea.
Come on, Brian, you idiot.
You know
All
me,
right.
I'm not well under pressure.
Okay. It would be Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning,
Ooh.
which is my favorite of the movies beside the first one. I think this movie is fucking ape shit bonkers. It is a Jason lookalike.
Mhm.
You really think Part 5 is going to go a different way, where the Tommy, after he kills Jason, is possessed by Jason and he becomes the new killer. But no, Tommy is kind of the hero in this movie, and this guy, the killer, ends up killing because his therefore unknown son is killed by another resident at the home, forcing him to dress up like Jason and take revenge on all the people who live there. What makes this movie great, beside it being like an episode of Scooby-Doo on acid, you have 2 deaths of people while they're taking shits.
Yep.
And you have one of the greatest lines ever, and I need to go back to writing it down, where I wrote it down.
While you're looking, I'm just going to say that would be top 3 scariest ways to go, because you are in such a vulnerable position. And then someone just fucking murders you while you're shitting.
and you have the quote, "It's them damn enchiladas," before running to the bathroom to die. And then going to the ending makes you think, oh crap, Tommy is going to become Jason. And I just, this movie is, oh yeah, you also have the death of punk rock girl getting killed in the film.
Yep.
I just think all right, we're going to take this franchise into a new direction. and they did. And I thought it would be interesting for them to just continue talking about the legacy of Jason, but I'm guessing this one bombed hard that they said, let's bring him back in the next one. And in the next one, Tommy goes to his grave and Jason gets electrocuted and brought to life, which makes me wonder why the fuck they would give Jason a grave in the first place. Actually, they go to his grave in this one as well. But no, I think this is great. I just think before we get into what I would call the 1 a.m. slot of the film festival, this one would be a really good palate cleanser.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
All right, Matt, what is your next choice?
What do you guys think about going through and discussing every Jason movie?
I think we should do it.
I haven't. When you were talking to me about the fifth one the other day, that was the only thing I could remember was that there was like an imposter Jason, and I was thinking like, man, I haven't seen those in so long. I would love to go through all of those and just really dive into.
Let's do it. The 13 weeks going up to Halloween, we will go through all of them.
Nice. Okay.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Next one I'll go with. It is a horror anthology, and it's 1995's Tales from the Hood. Was that excited or?
I'm excited. I love this movie. I don't own it, but I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I have never seen that one.
How have you never seen Tales from the Hood?
I know. I know. I haven't though.
So yeah, it's just like the story of these drug dealers. They go to this building where I think they think they're going there to buy more drugs, but it ends up being a funeral home, and the director there is kind of, showing them around and kind of goes up to these dead bodies and explains to the drug dealers like how each or the reason why each body is there. So it goes into these, little mini horror movies, and they're just really good. And it a lot of them tackle like, you see the cover of this movie and it's a skull with a gold tooth and some shades, and you're thinking like, oh, this is going to be like something like, I don't know, something corny, like some Leprechaun in the Hood or something. But it's each story is like really deep. It's got stories of, a lot of things happening in the communities back then, like, gang violence, racism, child abuse, stuff like that. And the little mini movies in the anthology are just really, really good. The funeral director, Clarence Williams III, is like super creepy. And I don't know what your favorite movie in the anthology is, Robert, but I remember as a kid, those little fucking voodoo dolls scared the shit out of me.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, that really cool movie. I think you gotta check it out, Brian. I think you'll be into it.
Oh, absolutely. That's this is such a good conversation for many reasons, because both of you guys have mentioned ones that I've never heard of, and then again, there's some that I have heard of and just haven't thought of in years. Like, had you not just mentioned Tales from the Hood, that probably never would have popped into my head to like, oh hey, I never got around to that one. Mm-hmm. No, that's wonderful. Yeah. And I love anthology films. So
yeah, same.
Okay. Bryant, what is your next pick?
Okay, so let's see. All right, now we're going with one. So killer alligator in the last one. Okay, so we're going to kind of start switching themes here a little bit. We are going to 1989 with Fabrizio De Angelis, Killer Crocodile.
I've never seen this one.
It is absolutely ridiculous. It is Italy's answer to Jaws, essentially.
Besides Cruel Jaws?
Well, yeah, but like this one's really funny because it's a super low budget film. This is another one that's kind of, like Night Killer level of like, get together with some friends and kind of just laugh at this attempt basically that was made. I mean, there's scenes, where it's clearly just like a pool, like a blow up crocodile that you would put in a swimming pool that they're using. The character that basically plays the Quint from Jaws in this is fantastic. At one point, one of my favorite lines in it is he's I can't remember it exactly, but he'd be sitting there with another guy and he's screaming like they're trying to catch this killer crocodile. He's like, "Come on, you scallywag, you pollywog," and like all this stuff. And the guy that's with him is like, "Why are you saying those things?" And he's like, "Crocodiles, they hate it when you call them names or something."
So we learned stuff in this movie. We learned that crocodiles hate being called scallywag.
Yeah, it's an educational piece for sure. No, there's not a lot to say about this one. It is, again, just a so bad it's good film. It's extremely delightful, lots of over the top line deliveries, and just a really, really good time.
That's awesome. I'll have to check this one out.
Yeah.
I do like over the top movies. And speaking of which,
except over the top.
Yeah.
The best, man.
Sorry. I mean, I am perfect, but all right. So, the way I'm picturing this one, this movie would be shown really late, early in the morning, and coming off Friday the 13th, Part 5. I'm like, what would really make people go, "What the fuck"? So the trailers before this one would be Rosemary's Baby and It's Alive. I will tell you there is no possession in this movie.
Basket case.
Nope.
That's where my mind is going. Damn it. Rosemary's Baby and It's Alive. The
Malignant.
No. All right. And here's the thing: I couldn't figure out what trailers to play in front of it because this movie is one of a fucking kind. But the reason I chose Rosemary's Baby and It's Alive because the movie is the Ted Post 1973 classic, The Baby. This movie is so fucking fucked up. It's the story of a social worker who goes to this woman's house who she has 2 daughters and a son who thinks he's a baby. And the women in that house are pure evil. And the social worker, we think she's a good person. But no, she wants to take the baby for a really fucked up ending. And it's nothing sexual, but it is a really fucked up ending. You're like, I did not see this one coming. And for some reason, it just fucking works. But, oh my God, this movie is brutal the way they abuse him with a cattle prod. I'm pretty sure one of his sisters... Now, to be fair, the baby is like 30 years old. One of his sisters sexually molests him. And they tease him by endlessly calling him baby. But the weird thing is, this movie was like a PG-rated movie, which means in 1973, PG was a lot more interesting than it is today. But I had never heard this movie until Severin put it on DVD, and I based on the synopsis, I had to pick it up. I bought it again when it was one of their initial Blu-rays, and then when Arrow put it out, I definitely had to pick it up again. And I
picked up the Arrow release.
Just
a
good,
it's wonderful,
fucking weird movie. And
it's really funny you mentioned that one too, because so I don't know if you guys watch The Last Drive-In on Shudder with Joe Bob Briggs, but in this latest season, for one of his episodes and one of the films on it, he chose to do The Baby. And the community online was just in an uproar over that film, which kind of surprised me. Basically, some people were saying like Joe Bob, we watch you because you put out, this content and this quality and stuff like that. And they basically were saying, why are you hitting me with this garbage? And a lot of them were saying that it was too heavy for the programming. And I was like, it's the baby. I mean, I get it. It's a fucked up movie, but it's like, I mean, he also showed, the little girl who lives down the lane. I think that's probably more fucked up than the baby, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'll have to go. I did not realize that he showed it. I pay for Shudder and I watch it very irregularly, like very rarely.
Yeah.
Joe Bob is the main reason I keep it. I love those episodes. It's so great hearing all that film history. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch some of them before they disappear. All right, Matt, what is your next pick?
Next one I'll go with the 1992 Bernard Rose Candyman.
No.
Candyman.
Stop.
No, I mean, don't you mean Biggie Smalls? Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, I remember this movie being like, I watched a lot of movies that I shouldn't have watched when I was little, but I remember this one being one that, I actually found really scary. It's the story of a guy with a hook hand, covered in bees, and some stupid student accidentally summons him, and and yeah, it kind of goes from there.
Really selling it there.
Yeah.
No,
I'm trying not to do like the whole thing in case.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like I thought it was kind of cool in the way that, like, this is like the monster of the movie, but you're kind of like rooting for him in a way. So I thought that was cool. I don't know about you guys, but I remember a time when I was a kid where I was terrified of whenever I saw like African killer bees on the news, and I thought I was gonna like walk outside one day and just see a huge swarm of them. And I was like, I remember I would always go outside and be like, okay, I think that if I run over there, I can get away from them if they come down. So like seeing all these bees in this movie was really scary to me, and like seeing him like come out of his mouth and all this stuff, terrifying to me. And Tony Todd, incredible in the movie. Yeah, I think you gotta check it out.
Did he come back for the remake?
I haven't seen it actually.
I haven't either. I'm not the biggest fan of the Candyman movies. I thought the first one was boring, and it's one that I haven't watched since I saw in the theater back in the day.
Yeah.
And I feel weird as a horror fan that I don't like that franchise.
Yeah, I mean,
I've only seen the first Century, and I did watch the remake. I just would rather people just watch it instead of answering that question. But I enjoy it. That was one that I did not watch, the original, to clarify, until the new one had been announced, because again, that was just one that slipped through the freaking cracks for me. And I was like, holy shit, I've never watched that. And I was actually kind of blown away at how heavy feeling the movie was, with the topics and everything that was going on in it. But
we have to figure out how you've never seen Candyman probably until last year.
I know.
That's a bigger
I swear there's this some that I just never did watch. That was one of them. But it's kind of fun in a way though, because it's like I get as excited like when, okay, so like tonight, Prey came out and everybody's wanting to watch that, the Predator entry, and Rachel, my wife, has never seen Predator. And I got so excited. I'm like, well, I know what we're watching tonight, so I kind of get that feeling whenever I'm reminded of a film that I haven't seen. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I get to watch it now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Brian, what is your next pick?
Okay. Next pick. We are going from, so we're going from Killer Crocodile into a little bit of a change in pace here, but kind of still kick in a little bit with like killer animal themes, sort of. It's a bit of a stretch. But we're going with 1982's The Beast Within. One of my absolute favorite transformation scenes in there. And I also kind of have a very weird sort of fascination with cicadas. so this one kind of checks off a few boxes for me. Yeah, don't ask too much, it's fine. But no, I just really like this one. It's everything about it is kind of fun. It has, like the era of it's great. There's really good acting in it. Again, you're hit with this like really crazy ass transformation scene. And again, it's one I can't really say a whole lot about without kind of spoilers and stuff, but it's a really fun movie, and the horror and the gore aspects, when they start to hit, they really come in flying. And I think it's a tremendous amount of fun. Yeah.
I've never seen this movie. I remember, I know Scream Factory put it out, and for some reason I did not pick it up at the time, and I've always been curious about it.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it, man. It kind of, obviously a completely different premise, but like it's like was it 82 Blob? 82? I think so. It's kind of like that sort of feeling with your characters and everything, where it's a fun movie. It's really well made. It's one that probably deserved a bigger audience when it came out. It's sort of one of those, when you watch it, you're like, holy shit, how wasn't this a big deal? Yeah, it's a good one.
I'll have to check it out. All right, so this next one for me is a palate cleanser. So the trailers before would be Dracula from 1931, and then Dracula versus Frankenstein. Even though Frankenstein does not appear in the movie that I am talking about here, it is also one of two vampire films on this list. And you're never going to guess this one, so I'm just going to say it. It is House of Dark Shadows by Dan Curtis from 1970. Dark Shadows was this gothic vampire soap opera from the late 60s, early 70s. And at one point in it, the guy who created it, Dan Curtis, said, you know what? People love this show so much, we're going to take the last couple of years of storyline and turn it into a little bit more gruesome 90-minute movie. And they did. And it's a wonderful film for those of you who don't want to watch the TV series, like me, to get an encapsulation of that entire storyline into a much more concise and better written movie. Jonathan Frid is great as Barnabas Collins. Actually, pretty much the entire cast of the series came into the movie. And from what I was doing in my research of it, they had to find ways to write out the main cast of the show so they could go make this movie, which meant for a series of weeks or months, the reason you watched the show wasn't on the show. There was a sequel that came out a couple years later called Night of Dark Shadows. That is not a good film, and I don't recommend it. They were on Blu-ray for a while, but they've been out of print pretty much since they came out. But it would be a palate cleanser and just something different that, again, I haven't seen programmed in other horror film festivals. So
nice.
That is my next pick.
Nice.
I'm always down to hear a good vampire flick recommendation, because to be honest with you, that's not really a subgenre that I gravitate towards. So I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, do it.
Weren't you super into Twilight?
Well, I mean, those are more than just vampire
Shut up,
movies,
shut up,
right?
shut up.
That's like,
Shut up. There was a
that's
rule we have
deep
the show
drama.
that Twilight will never, ever be mentioned on Grindhouse Chic. All right. Matt, what is your next pick?
Oddly enough, my next pick is Twilight. No, now my next pick, I am going back a little bit to 1974, and I have a movie called Sugar Hill.
It's a good movie.
Yes, I actually just saw this recently when we were watching some of the Rudy Ray Moore movies. This one popped up, and I checked it out, and really good. It's basically the story of Sugar Hill is the main character, and her boyfriend is murdered. So I had to write down exactly what she summoned here. She calls upon a machete wielding army of zombies through voodoo to get revenge on them for her husband. And I thought there wasn't a ton of like gore for being a zombie movie, but I thought that the zombies looked super creepy. They had these like really like creepy glowing eyes. And I thought it was a really cool, just kind of, blaxploitation horror film. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that without giving a ton away, but yeah, she summons this really cool army to get revenge, and I thought it was pretty creepy.
Sugar Hill is bonkers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one probably in probably about 10 years. It's one I keep on meaning to revisit, but
Yeah,
I need to. I really need to revisit it.
I'd be down to watch it again and talk about it.
I have to find it streaming.
That's another one I'm going to have to add to the watch list. Yeah.
Yeah, mine has grown during this discussion. I'm definitely going to watch everything on the list.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Brian, what is your next pick?
All right, so we're taking a pretty major leap here, but still kind of keeping with Beast Within sort of transformation things that so we're getting some killer animal aspects kind of a deal. But we are going now to 2004. Okay, so pretty big leap there to the amazing Suburban Sasquatch. Yes, directed by Dave Wascovich. Now, go ahead.
I will have to wait for my copy of it to come in the mail. Though I am teetering on canceling it after watching the Necrophiles.
The Necrophiles has been my least favorite of the releases so far. The charm wore off real quick, right?
Yeah.
Like it starts off like, oh, that's weird and funny, but then the gag just goes on too long. But it was okay. Anyway, again, back to Suburban Sasquatch. This is I'm trying to strategically place in this list, like after some kind of wrap ups, and then you just sort of get to these crazy ass films like Night Killer and what was the other one I had? Killer Crocodile and stuff. So Suburban Sasquatch, that's kind of its placement in this, is just to add like some silliness. Let's all just laugh ultra hard now, because it is a prime example of how not to make a movie. And I will keep it brief because I know there are some people that have pre-ordered the Blu-ray and it is coming very soon. But if you have seen films like Birdemic and that quality of film style with like the very jarring digital editing and things of that nature, really ridiculous costumes, completely outlandish acting, characters that should not be playing the characters that they are, and I will let you guys figure those out whenever you watch it. It is just a get in a room with a bunch of people and watch them just have a great fucking time. I have only shown this film to one person who it basically broke them to the point that they said this is not, they didn't have fun with it. But only one person. It has a pretty good track record. I've shown this to a lot of people.
Was that Steve? Was that Steve?
It was Steve. It was Steve. Yeah. He was like, nothing would ever make me add this to my shelf. And I'm like, man, you're fucking crazy.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Is it SOV?
No, it's shot
So
on film. It's shot on film, edited on video.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask because yeah, all right.
That's what the line Visual Vengeance is. It's either shot on video or shot on film, edited on video. Because I think they were talking about the muscle, the whatever the Japanese one was shot
Bloody
on.
Muscle Bodybuilder from Hell or in
Yeah.
Hell. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Duh.
It's such a good movie.
I don't know. This I get my copy of Jabber in this week. I will watch that, and then I will.
I still
decide.
can't believe how heavy that one hit me, man. Damn.
All right. My next film. The trailers before would be The Exorcist and Repossessed, even though Linda Blair has nothing to do with this movie. You're not going to guess it. It was 1987's Guy Mager's classic Retribution, which I had never heard of until Severin put it out. And it has become one of my favorite releases of the year. It's about this guy played by Dennis Lipscomb, who is an artist, and as he tries committing suicide, he becomes possessed by a gangster who died the same night, and then he goes on a mission unknowingly to get revenge and murder the people who wronged him. And it's an amazing film. Suzanne Snyder, who is in Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and Weird Science, who I had a crush on back in the day, plays a hooker with a heart of gold. And this movie is just fucking bonkers. It's one of those ones I wish went longer because the world that Guy Mager created was just fantastic. Like, he created this seedy part of Los Angeles, and I think it's Los Angeles, and just made it seem like the most delightful place in the world. Like, he lives in this rundown transient hotel, and the way his neighbors kind of just take care of him and really like him and have a party for him when he gets out of the hospital, and which includes a guy riding a motorcycle in the building in the apartment of the landlord. It's just this amazing messed up movie, and God, I wish I could play it in front of a million people just to get their reaction, because I know they would be cheering it. Yes, this movie is really good. And again, this is what I like about boutique labels. Like, I've seen a lot of movies, but every few months one comes out that I have never seen or heard of, and it becomes an instant favorite. I think I've watched it like 4 or 5 times since I picked it up.
Nice.
You said it's a Severin?
Yep, they released it during their Black Friday sale last year.
Oh, I have it then. Does it have like a guy with like glasses?
Yes.
On the cup? Okay. All right. Yeah. I know that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I take it you haven't watched it yet.
Nope, it's still sealed.
All right.
Just sitting there.
Matt, what is your next pick?
My next one, I kind of stumbled upon on accident one night. Just laying on the couch, scrolling through Netflix, adding movies to my watch list over and over again instead of just picking something to watch. And I scrolled past this movie because the cover looked really intriguing to me, and it's called His House. It's from 2020, and it's kind of just the story of this couple who escapes like a war zone in South Sudan, and they find their way to this house in this like quiet English town. And I don't want to give a lot away, but stuff starts going down in the house, and I really liked it because I felt like it really kind of revived like a good haunted house movie for me. Stuff in it that it was, the visuals were like honestly super scary. There was a lot of like deep heavy stuff in it, dealing with like trauma and grief, going back to their like, back to the country they escaped from, and dealing with what's going on in the house now. Just really good, and I was really surprised because I just came upon it on accident. It has Did you guys watch the Loki show?
No.
No. Ah, you sons of bitches. Well, there's this woman in it who is like one of my favorite characters in the show, and she is one of the two leads in this movie. She was really, really good. The guy was really good. I think this was the director's debut too, and I was just I thought it was really good. I haven't seen a good scary movie or a good haunted house movie in a long time, and this was really nice to see.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is it on Shudder?
It's on just Netflix.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, same here. I love haunted house movies. Like you said, it's hard to come across ones that hit well these days. It's kind of a tired genre, but that's awesome. I have to check it out.
Brian, what is your next pick?
Let's see. Okay, so this next one actually will be pretty quick because we've already discussed this film. So to encourage folks to maybe go back and watch a previous episode. So sticking with Sasquatch, we are going to 1983. James C. Wilson with Night of the Demon. Just to sum up again, I think it's an extremely. It's just an interesting movie. I love how it. Yeah, you have moments like that, and then you have also like really, at least to me, they kind of hit hard emotionally with the trauma aspect of this girl being brought up a certain way, and it's by golly, it's a roller coaster of emotion. But no, I certainly do. I think it's one that could potentially scratch the itch for people who want to watch something sort of bonkers with laugh at the film moments, but also show you the capability of these filmmakers back then, and really this the lengths that they went to kind of create environments. I mean, that film, it goes from like one angle to another, and there are moments in that movie that actually do make me feel for the characters and make me feel slightly uncomfortable. I mean, I know it's funny, I guess, to say like, oh, there's a Bigfoot rape, but when you watch the scene in context to the rest of the movie, it's just like, ugh. It feels gross, right? It kind of makes you feel gross. And I applaud that movie for the efforts that it went to.
So just to keep on the theme, my next pick, the trailers would have been Shriek of the Mutilated and Yeti, and the Demon would have been my next pick. So, Brian, you just said everything about it, but I'm also going to go dick rip. And I just think an audience would love that one. So, Matt, it's your turn again.
My next one.
I was wondering if that was going to happen with any of them.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't until now.
Sure. Yeah.
My next one, kind of on the same theme there of something that we've covered before. I kind of had another kind of settle down movie again, make things a little lighter, and I have P.D. Wheatstraw as my next.
God
movie.
damn it!
Nice.
So
Robert.
So hold on, Brian. I'm gonna move my turn up right now because that was my next pick as well.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So,
oh, that's amazing.
So, just so you know, the trailers I would have played with them were played in front of it were Shock 'Em Dead and Fan of the Paradise, and this would have been my Selling Your Soul to the Devil movie. And man, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it was like,
no, go ahead.
This movie isn't really a horror movie until you get to the ending of it. And you're like, oh, fuck, this is like one of the best episodes of The Twilight Zone that never got made. And the whole movie, you have Rudy Ray Moore, or Petey, trying to figure out how to fuck over the devil.
Yeah.
And you can't. And when I first saw this movie, I hated it because it was such a departure from the Dolomite films. But man, it's a better movie story-wise than the Dolomite movies. And
yeah,
it's just really fucked up, and it's really good. And that ending is...
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm probably in the extreme minority with this as far as Rudy Ray Moore, but that was my introduction to him, was P.D. Wheatstraw. I love that film. It's just
Mhm.
fucking incredible. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great
I
pick
was
to
gonna
both of
say
you guys.
too. I was gonna say too when we were talk we were gonna talk about this movie, and I accidentally watched Dolomite in place of this one, and then realized I had the wrong movie. So then I watched this one after, and I'm the same way. I really like this movie. I think I prefer it over Dolomite. I thought it was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, and
No,
there's
Dolomite
like
2, The Human Tornado is one of the funniest movies you have ever
is it?
seen.
I haven't watched that one yet.
That one holds a special place in my heart because that was the first one I saw. But this movie is a much more mature effort from Cliff Rockmore.
Mm-hmm. Very mature. My favorite part is when the guy pooped his pants and they just kept talking about how bad it smelled, and he was just sitting in the room the entire time.
Well, yeah. Oh man, this movie's fantastic, and I'm just this is the only Vinegar Syndrome title on my list.
Mm-hmm. I think that was I think that was my only one too.
Yeah, but holy, it's such a good movie, and I'm really upset that you have it on your list as well, Matt.
I'm sorry.
All right, Brian, what is your next pick?
Well, that's a great segue into my next one because this is my only Vinegar Syndrome on the list. So the connection with this one was kind of just, one of my favorite settings is woodsy settings, camping settings, things of that nature. So that's kind of where my list starts to, go in this direction. And we're going with Don't Go in the Woods.
Ooh, again.
Yeah, I guess. Well, alone, right? Don't go in the woods alone.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And again, not a whole lot to say about this one without any kind of spoilers. I mean, I guess honestly, it could kind of be considered to be a bit of a slow burn type of film.
It's a very slow burn.
Yeah, but
almost to the point where you're like, what am I watching?
Yeah, but I think there's just enough sprinkled throughout it to sort of keep you going. And again, the bias of the setting for me really, makes that movie intriguing to me. But there are some supremely absurd scenes. The killer is just so fucking just, I don't know, what he would have cut like a frumpy. Just, and you have, of course, the intro with don't go into the woods tonight. You probably will be killed. It's like this creepy, eerie keyboard, song. I really like that one quite a bit. I think there's enough to be admired in it where you can appreciate the efforts that they went to with such a low budget to create a film. And in a certain way, I think it sort of adds to the creepiness, like this. Just sort of like, what am I watching? It's like it's a total mess, but like put in the right setting, it kind of adds like this eeriness to it almost. And again, with the music, I really enjoyed that film.
I agree. The first time I saw it was on one of those Grindhouse double feature discs from back in the 90s, early 2000s. And I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was even more ridiculous when it came out from Vinegar Syndrome on Blu-ray. And I like this movie. It has a charm to it, but it's so slow moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue with it. But you know what? I would love to see the group of people. And I imagine this would be kind of the movie where people are just, wherever you have in the lineup, we're just getting up in the morning and just ready for what's next. And what's next is our final two picks, guys, to round it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is your next one?
So I realized that I had numbered my music video as a pick, so I have one more movie left. I've been like frantically trying to find another one. But
wait, I thought we had 3 more picks, right? Because we're on number 10 now.
Yeah, I must have only done 10.
I only have 11.
Oh, okay.
I'll just do my last one. I'm not going to say too much about it because it is still in theaters, but it's one of the best horror movies that I have seen in a long time, and it's Jordan Peele's Nope. it's been a long time since I've gone back to a theater and watched a movie again. Brought a different group of people with me the second time. And it's just, I don't know, like, I thought Get Out was good. I never saw Us because I heard bad things. But watching this movie, it's just, there's so many different kind of themes going on in it that are all kind of, scary in their own way. Kind of, I don't know if scary is the right word, but they all kind of have a, very negative impact in their own way. And just combined with the scale of the movie compared to his other ones, just really, really good. And I think it's a good, for the kind of list I put together, I think it's a really good like end cap on kind of the theme I was going for. I recommend everyone to go see it. I thought it was really good.
First of all, I don't want to disnote, but there is one notable omission from your list, and I was really hoping you were going to get to it, but I'm actually kind of shocked. And I don't want to talk about Note because it's a recent movie and all that. How the fuck do you have Ganja and Hess in your list?
I actually have that on here as an alt, but I haven't seen it in so long that I didn't know if I could remember it enough to talk about it.
I would have watched that one and added. I would have watched it over the weekend and just add that to your list. I mean, Ganja and Hess is just holy fuck. It's a slow burn. I'll give you that. It's a slow burn, but
it is a slow burn. Yeah, kind of like a what would be the term for like a romantic horror movie, like a.
I don't know. There is no real movie like Ganja and Hess. Though I did hear Spike Lee remade it.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. But he called it something else, and it stars Dwayne Jones from
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead, and directed by Bill Gunn. It's about a doctor after being stabbed with an ancient germ-infested knife. A doctor's assistant finds himself with an insatiable desire for blood. I think it's a really important movie, and sorry, man, I'm just kind of upset it's not on your list.
No, like I said at the start of this, I think that there's, a ton of movies that should have been on here, and I either just haven't seen them or, haven't seen them in so long that I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about them. So I'm sorry I disappointed you.
It's all right.
Don't make me cry, Matt. I'm
Petey
sorry
Wheat
for
Straw.
him too, Robert. Yeah.
All right, Brian, what is your one of next two picks?
All right, so at number 10, I have okay, cool, yeah, 1981, Tony Mae Lamb, The Burning, sticking with sort of woodsy settings. I love that film. It is also, I guess, keeping a theme of slow burns. That one does. I definitely, even though it is one of my favorites, I definitely do feel the runtime on it. But I love the whole setup of, who our killer is and what happened to him. It's sort of these kids are playing a prank on, on somebody, and it goes awry. And, campers continue to come to this place. And then, of course, our killer is still on the property and then killing kids off. And it has one of my favorite kill scenes from specifically like 80s slasher films. Have you guys seen the movie?
Yes.
Okay. So, when they're in the, canoes and everything, paddling along, and then Cropsy comes up, pair of scissors, jab and say, it's a pretty jarring out of nowhere kind of a scene, especially considering again that it is pretty slow paced. You also have George Costanza in here,
and Mark Ratner from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
What you're forgetting though is the movie was directed by one of the most despicable people in Hollywood, Harvey Weinstein.
Well, I didn't think we were going to go there, but
we were going there.
But,
right.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy that movie. I think it's fantastic. Yeah.
It's on my pile to revisit, and I might do it next weekend if I have the time. My next pick, I'm going to guess neither one of you have seen. The trailer for it is the made for TV movie Nick Knight starring Rick Springfield and I Desire. The movie. So this is a weird one. It was released as a movie, but it was originally a portion of a TV show called Cliffhangers. It was called The Curse of Dracula. I think of all the ones on Cliffhangers, it was the only one that was finished. It was directed by Kenneth Johnson and others. And basically, it starred Michael Nuri as Count Dracula, now an English professor, where one of his students might have been the resurrection of Mina Harkins. And as a kid, I loved it because it was the first time I saw Dracula modernized. I have recently gone and seen parts of this on YouTube. It does not hold up, but just for shits and giggles, I would have it programmed here. So I would be the first person to program this shitty movie at a festival. And plus, Michael Nuri as Dracula back in the 70s was fucking good.
Nice.
Very cool.
All right, Matt, did you have a final pick?
I've got another alt on here that I haven't seen in a while, but I'll put it on here. Kind of I mean, I guess it's a little lighter one to end on, but I'm gonna go with 1973, actually the sequel to a movie, and I'm gonna go with Scream, Blackula Scream. I like this one a lot more than the first one. Basically, the story. There's a lot of voodoo in these movies, by the way, but in this one, there's a voodoo queen who is dying, and she kind of makes someone who was like adopted her successor instead of the person who was next in line to be the next voodoo queen. He gets mad and he ends up going and buying the bones of Blackula. And uses voodoo again to bring him back to life. And then Blackula turns him into a vampire and makes him his slave. And I kind of liked this one more because he's kind of like assembling his vampire team. So I liked that a lot. And again, I haven't seen it in so long that it's hard to talk about it, but I remember there being some sort of side story with a cop that I thought was like kind of interesting and weird. Kind of just rambling to fill time now, but Scream, Blackula Scream.
You're forgetting Pam Grier.
Pam Grier is in it, yeah.
No,
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
Oh, I own it. I've actually seen this with a group of people. When I lived in Kansas City, there was a underground film collective, and every month they would show movies, and one of them was Scream, Blackula Scream, and the place was packed, and we'd all be drinking beer and smoking weed and watching incredibly bad movies. That's where I saw Liquid Sky with a bunch of people, and no, Scream, Blackula Scream is fucking amazing. The king of cartoons, who I can't remember the actor's name, who plays Blackula from the Pee Wee Herman show. It's just a fantastic movie. It's fast paced, and it's one of the rare times where the sequel is better than the original.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, but
William Marshall is his name.
William Marshall, the king of cartoons. All right, Brian, what is your final pick?
Well, I went through 12. So anyway, I can give both of my last ones at the same time if you guys want.
Go ahead. Please do.
Yeah. So okay, so my 11th slot went to my personal favorite of the Friday the 13th franchise. So we're sticking with camping themes here. And this one is Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D because that's essential. I love that movie. That was when I was a kid. I know I've told you guys in prior conversations, my dad was one of those people where he would record a bunch of stuff on our VCR player, like that he would watch on TV. So we just had bookshelves of all these movies. So that was my introduction to Jason before the original Friday the 13th. And I love that film. There's a lot that could be said for it. It's definitely super ridiculous and everything. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. And then rounding out the night, I thought this was the one that I probably struggled with the most, but I ultimately had to put it on the list because it is ultimately one of my favorite horror movies, and it sticks within the genre of closing out with camping horror. And that, of course, is 1983 Sleepaway Camp. Nice. I adore that film. I never get tired of it. That is honestly one that is just like comfort food for me. I put it on in the background all the time. I've met Felissa Rose. She's like the sweetest person ever. I love, there are so many grimy, just really gross moments within that film that I think sometimes get buried, beneath the climactic ending that everyone remembers. Gross characters with like the cooks and stuff. They're all like, looking at these 12 and 13-year-old girls and talking about this. I mean, it's gross,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's elements of that one that I find to be actually scary. And I just think it's a kind of a perfect camping setting movie. Again, with like the most surprise twist that you could never see coming. Right?
A twist that was ripped off for an Academy Award nominated film, The Crying Game.
Oh, okay.
And I think if you're talking about despicable characters, the aunt might be the most evil character in that movie for what she did to the main character. But no, Sleepaway Camp is great. I have seen that with a group of people on a double bill with Friday the 13th, back to the Screenland Armor in Kansas City. And my friend Al screamed like a girl during Friday the 13th when Jason pops out of the water at the end, or the illusion of Jason. But no, Sleepaway Camp's great. Phenomenal film. And that was one that was also teetering on my list, but it did not make it. Because the last film I decided to go with the trailers before be Evil Dead 2 and Dawn of the Dead. So this would be my pick for a sequel better than the original. And it was 1986's classic by Lamberto Bava, Demons 2. I love Demons, but Demons 2 is so much fucking better. Better soundtrack. The fact that it happens in an apartment building, and how the demons come out is they're watching a broadcast of them going back into the city from the first demons, and somehow through this weird studio, the demons are able to come through the apartment and ruin this girl's party, making her the most entitled person in the world when she becomes like the demon queen. Also, you have a dog that's turned into a demon, a guy and a hooker who are stuck in an elevator together, and then you have basically the actor who played the pimp in the first movie playing the gym owner in this one, which means he should have been in every Demons movie and Demons spinoff as a different character where his whole family has had to fight these demons. But Demons 2 is so fucking bonkers. I couldn't think of a way to end this festival on a better note than with living dead people, which kind of brings it full circle from the Frighteners to Ghost to Demons. And I would send the audience home happy. Though if I was to pick another movie, it would be Boarding House, which we're going to discuss next week on next week's episode. But there were a lot of great picks and one notable omission, Matt.
Ooh.
But
Yeah, seriously, this was an extremely intriguing conversation. I was anticipating it a lot. So much, in fact, I think that like it might be worth our time even to like pick different genres and stuff like that and do another one.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys both mentioned films again that I haven't thought of in years, and number two that I've never heard of before at all. And I can't wait to watch them.
Yeah,
Nice.
I agree. Like Matt, your first pick is one I'm going to go look for on the tube of you. I don't think I'll buy it,
Do
but
it.
I'll look for it on the YouTube.
Definitely watch it like in the day when you've got some energy.
Yeah, because I'm so energetic at 12:46 in the a.m. And guys, I need to go to bed because I have to be at work in the morning. And we'll be back next week as we discuss Boarding House. Or let me throw this out there. Let's not talk about Boarding House. Let's push that off for a week, and let's kind of come full circle and list our 10 favorite Vinegar Syndrome movies.
Mm.
God, I'm just gonna keep
Okay.
having PD Wheatstraw on every list we do.
It can be. It can be. But out of all the movies you have watched so far, it can't be something you have not watched. But I would, because we're kind of going to be moving away from just talking about Vinegar Syndrome movies and boutique labels. We're going to be kind of talking about all genre films in this. So kind of opening it up. But let's go back to where we started and let's talk about our 10 favorite Vinegar Syndrome movies.
Yeah,
Would love to.
I'm down.
Yeah.
All right, we will see you guys next week. Until then, I am Robert Schneider, Matt, and Brian. Hit subscribe. We are going to be back on a regular basis. We're going to have much more content, and hopefully Oliver will be back soon. Talk to you guys later. Bye.